All right, the watch list for October 12th, which is going to be a Wednesday. The SPY, I always start off with the SPY. The SPY had a pretty good sell-off today, down to support, which used to be resistance back here and here. So, is it going to leave this range, or is it just going to be bouncing off the bottom of this range? I have a great way to tell you, but I won't know until after it happens. And then I'll be able to tell you. In other words, we don't know what it's going to do, but we know it's at support, and we'll, kind of trade tomorrow with that in mind, and we'll see how it opens tomorrow. Okay, so the watch list I have, this one's a little obscure, but again, still worth having on my radar. Okay, it had this day from 242 to 8, wasn't that long ago, maybe 2.5 weeks. And now if you go to 15-minute candles, it never broke its early high. Let's see, well, it didn't break its early high for the last couple days, and it is back down to support. I'm not bullish on the chart by any means because it's basically round trip from the move, but with it being at support around $2, it might be worth watching for a bounce tomorrow. When the thing does move, it really moves. So I got that one on watch. AUPH, this is kind of a weird looking chart because it's kind of gappy. It's still extended from the moving averages, in my opinion. Still needs to come in, but might catch shorts off guard if it does catch a bid, so it will be on a chart tomorrow. It doesn't cost me anything to have it on a chart. LPCN. Gapped up today. Really thought this thing might rip through 6 and never got going. It just goes on watch tomorrow because if you switch to 15s, I mean, you can see it's just still in the range of the gap up day, right? It gapped up 3 sessions ago. Basically is trending now between 590 and 510, and it's basically sitting, I guess in the lower portion of that range, but still worth watching. I'd like to see, if you notice, here's the opening 15-minute candle on the gap up day, the opening 15-minute candle the next day, and again for today. It put in its high all 3 of those days on that opening 15-minute candle. If we can get a sideways move for a few hours and then an upside break out of its intraday range in the afternoon, that is it's a higher probability setup. So keep that in mind. We want to see it have an afternoon breakout. You might catch a nice trade in it, but I do not like the way it's trading right now. It is acting kind of heavy. MCUR was actually my best trade today because I had pretty good size in it. It ended up closing about where it opened, but it's still worth watching. I mean, you basically have an inside day of this huge day. I'll show you what I called on it today in chat. I called it long right here on this candle, right? As it was going red to green, I got some size and scaled out into this and ended up, making my day with that. It didn't end up, following through a ripping, but a decent move with size from $1.90 to over 210. That's a 10% move. If you're sitting on it and watching for that proper setup, which was right here, you can make some pretty good money, and I did. So it goes back on watch tomorrow because it's been a pretty good mover. NYMX, this one, big volume. It ended up giving back a lot of this pop. I actually got long this thing thanks to Benzinga. I heard the news and I got long. I can't remember now. I want to say 336, which was right here. And I'm humiliated almost at how little I got out of that thing. I ended up making 800 on it, something like that, which was an average of 20 cents when it moved up well over $1 for my entry. But you know what? Kind of felt like I broke my rules chasing at 336, believe it or not. And so I was just scaling out real quick. One of my most horribly handled trades in a long time, but when a horribly handled trade still nets you $800, I guess you can't complain too much, but I could have got so much more out of that thing. BSPM, huge move today. I mean, my goodness, from 360 to 706, gave back a lot of the gains, but still closed in probably upper half of that range. Whenever I see a stock move like that, it's going to be on watch for the next week or so. I mean, look back here, you had this huge move. Then it had a few days of choppiness, and then had another nice move about a week later. So you got to keep something like this on watch. 17 million shares today, definitely lands on a chart tomorrow. GBR, this thing's had some huge moves in the past, a little extra volume today. And when you look at it on an intraday basis, I kind of suspect this was a chat room and maybe some of the members from that chat room chasing it, in the afternoon. All of a sudden, when you see volume come in, I couldn't find any news on it, but because it's a low float stock and can move at times, I'm going to watch it, but I'm a little skeptical on this one. Anyway, it's going to go on a chart. It's one of my least favorite of the list. TKAI, nice breakout. It's in this big island down here after this huge gap down. big volume today and kind of got up into the gap. So gave back some of its gains. It went to 209 and ended up closing at 188. Maybe a red to green in that one tomorrow. It gets going again. So certainly worth watching. NVFY. It's extended, right? It's had a nice little 2-day move here. Well, I don't know. You could argue that it's not really a 2-day move because you had this pop and then a gap down and it closed down here and then a pop. So it is kind of interesting. It had huge volume out of the gate today. This is a 15-minute chart. And on that huge volume, it never broke out of its 15-minute range. So 386 to 480, really nice start. And really just flagged the rest of the day. So I think, and you do have other highs just above this area. So, I guess this one is worth watching. It can certainly move at times. It did have news, so maybe a follow-through day, red to green, something like that tomorrow. And then lastly, I have COTY, which I had on Bounce Watch today. And ended up putting kind of a little doji candle today with, with a weak market. So, if this can get back up through 23, this one might have a nice bounce day in it. And that's it. We'll be stocking some gappers as well in addition to this list. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow.